Recently, we were all shaken by the sudden death of Reverend Father Chidi Osondu, a priest originally from Nigeria, working in the Diocese of Savana in Georgia, the United States. Now, Chidi didn't say goodbye to his family, to his colleagues, and some of us, his friends, because Chidi didn't know that the kidney transplant surgery he had in New Delhi, India, would eventually lead to his death. We do not choose how we die, when we die, or the circumstances that will lead to our death. We, however, choose how we live. We make a choice to live for God and for our brothers and sisters, or to live for ourselves. And I want to pay tribute to Chidi in a special way as we prepare for his funeral. Different tributes have been pouring out to Chidi. I have never seen anyone whose Facebook became so busy this way after his death. And I've been reading a lot of the tributes on Facebook, and it dawned on me how much his life meant to so many, white or black, young or old, rich or poor. Chidi was a very special person. In many ways, his size, because he's quite a huge guy, I know that when he was in high school at the minor seminary, that his nickname was Ibu, which actually is a pun on the word Ibu. So Ibu means in Igbo language size, weight. Ibu also can mean load. So it was as if people said, you're carrying your big weight like a heavy load. But he took everything in his stride. He was a very, very terrific guy, very jovial, very vivacious, full of energy. So his heart was as wide as his physical frame. He was a very generous man. He was a dreamer, and he was always in a hurry, as if to say he knew that his life here was going to be short. And it's so amazing that in a world characterized by selfishness and pride, these two sins, Augustine reminds us, are the very root of all sins. That in such a world you can find people like Reverend Chidi who live for the others. So much did Dietrich Bonhoeffer say that Jesus is the man for the others. So in a sense, every authentic Christian, every authentic priest is a man for the others. And Chidi really desired to be a priest. He didn't find his way to the priesthood in a very easy way. It took him many detours until God brought him to himself in the Diocese of Savana, where he towered so high, not by any other thing other than by simply being himself, being gentle and kind, being compassionate and friendly, and sharing his life with his brothers and sisters. I know that many, many poor people in Enugu State, especially in the Aninri Ogu area, as well as in parts of Enugu, the capital of Enugu State, where Chidi's charity continues to help the underprivileged, especially children, that they will be crying, God, why did you allow this to happen? Chidi founded a charity in the United States. This charity, the Voice of Children, Chidi prayed and hoped would be the voice for many children suffering not only in Africa, but also Chidi had a plan of expanding to South America, to places like Dominican Republic and Haiti. Many kids who would have died because of treatable diseases were rescued from death because of Chidi's resilience, his total commitment and sacrifice, his doggedness in pursuing a cause that was so close to his heart. His death has left a huge hole in many hearts, especially his family, his friends, and his charity. But I hope that all of us, his friends, would not allow this dream to die. How we can realize that is a conversation that we all will make after we have given Chidi a final goodbye. And I want to salute a life well lived. The Holy Writ tells us that length of life is not what makes life worthy. The fullness of life is a life lived in God, a life lived in unstinting generosity for our brothers and sisters, a life lived in making sacrifice, in going the extra mile, in wiping away tears, in letting go of hurts and harm, in being honest, in being faithful, in maintaining our focus. And I think Chidi lived fully because he died in his mid-30s. But I don't know how many who are alive today, priests or his colleagues and classmates, who will be able to attain what he did within so short a life. And thinking about his death, the tears being shed by many of us, I start to ask myself, what is the meaning of life? The meaning of life, I think, comes from realizing why God made you. Why am I here? Where am I heading to in life? What am I living for? What is that consistent purpose in my life? And this purpose is not just self-defined. I think deep within the very arc of our humanity, the very ontology of our human constitution, there lies a promise and there lies a gift. At that very core of our humanity, where our human fragility and our human surge towards the transcendent being meets radically with this great God who comes in contact with us. It is at that very constitution of our being, the very depth, that we find those whispers of love, those whispers of meaning and direction that form a compass directing us and directing our lives amidst the storms and tempests of life, amidst the variegated changes in life. Each soul has a purpose. Each life has a purpose. And that is what makes life meaningful. When you realize the vocation, why you were made, it becomes a dynamics that drives you. It unifies your energy, focuses your drive, and channels your energy. And it is in finding this purpose and vocation and direction in life that we find the definition of why God has kept us here. And this is not something that we manufacture. It is written here in our soul. And those who find the reason why they were made find happiness and fulfillment. They are not therefore troubled that their classmates or their contemporaries or even their juniors are advancing higher than them, because they realize that God has a space for every bird that flies. And God feeds every bird that flies. However, every bird must go out of the nest and find a food. The same with each and every one of us. Each of us has a special calling from God. Each of us has a special vocation from God. Each of us has a special song to sing. And it is unfortunate that sometimes in our world, people do not realize this, and their lives become dissipated with pursuing vain things that do not enrich their lives or enrich the lives of their neighbors. And sometimes our society makes it impossible for the human flourishing because of various circumstances, various acts of injustice, especially poverty. Poverty closes the door. Poverty makes it impossible for people to realize their authentic humanity and to aspire towards the highest level of human fulfillment, which is that divine intimacy and that being enfolded in the womb of God, so that we find peace and we find rest. And I think it is these borders that people like Chidi try to break down in their lives by encouraging people to love, by encouraging people to be generous, by encouraging people to go the extra mile. And we can see the interconnection between us as God's people. The words of Saint Therese indeed grants us comfort as we mourn this giant soldier of Christ. Saint Therese says, "My life is a moment. I do not live here for a long time. My life is for a moment. I am only the breath of God. Oh my God, teach me to know that for loving you and for loving my neighbor, I have only today, for my life is for a moment." We do not know when our lives will come to an end, but we do know that we can live fully only by loving fully. And love until it hurts. Love with sacrifice. For love without sacrifice is empty, and love without pain is nothing. And for those who have loved like Chidi, the Lord assures an eternal rest. For I was hungry, you gave me to eat, and I was thirsty, you gave me to drink. Chidi fed the hungry and gave water to the thirsty in many ways. He now belongs to God perpetually in heaven.